I'm one of the interrupted the recording section. I'll start again. I'm Leah. I'm from the Co-op Group, and we've also got Karen here from Central England Co-op. So we've got a little presentation to share with you today about our funding opportunities. So I'm hoping you can all see this. If you can't, shout or put something in the chat and Karen will pick that up, because I'm not going to keep the chat on because it's really distracting. So there's two different cooperatives. So we'll give you an introduction of where we're coming from, our different funding, and then we'll answer all the questions at the end if that's all right, but we'll keep the chat off for now and not answer any questions until the end, because I said it's quite distracting. So I think I'll pass over to Karen for a minute.
So thank you, Leah, and good morning, everybody. Not only are we talking about our funding, but we're probably going to give you a little bit of an education lesson as well around co-ops, because it's quite confusing for a lot of people. So a cooperative is a business owned by its members. So what we mean by that, it is democratically owned and controlled by our members, so anybody can become a member of a co-op at 16 years of age. It also means that our profits, or as we like to call it, our surplus, will either go back to our members or into the communities where we trade. So really that's where we're coming from today, just to talk about some of our dividend through funding that we can offer. If you can just go on to the next slide, Leah, thanks. So there are different co-ops. So Leah will talk a little bit more about the Co-op Group. Co-op Group was historically the Co-op Wholesale Society. So it was actually the buying arm for all the independent co-op societies in the country, but they went into buying stores as well. So that is where you'll see different stores sometimes in the same area. So obviously there is the Co-op Group, which Leah will talk about, but these are some of us that are around our trading area as well. So mid-counties, that's the logo that they use. We've got East of England as we go into Northamptonshire and further afield, Central England Co-op, and then there's also Heart of England Co-op, which is sort of Nuneaton, Warwickshire, and there's also a Tamworth Co-op as well. It's quite interesting that when I go to my head office, which is based in Lichfield, I actually travel through two other co-op territories before I get to our head office. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a bit of a clue to the Co-op Group, basically. So Karen and I always describe this really simply in the fact that the Co-op Group's kind of blue and the Central England Co-op's green. It's not always that simple, I will be honest about it, but essentially that's the easy way of trying to work us out. So as Karen said, we were the central buying arm for all the independent co-ops originally, but we are now one of the largest consumer cooperatives. We've got millions of members, we've got 2,500 stores. We are the #1 funeral service provider. We've got insurance services, we've got legal services. We employ 70,000 people. But the biggest difference with us as a co-op is our social goals and community-led programs, which is obviously part of the reason we're here today, to talk to you about those and how we can fund those programs and the difference that we make by funding those programs. And as Karen said, because we're owned by the members, everything we do comes from the membership and we give that straight back into the communities. So that's why we're different. To Karen's.
So for Central England Co-op, so we're one of the largest independent societies, and we trade across 16 counties from the Midlands to the East Coast. So a few years ago, we actually merged with Anglia Co-op. So though we're called Central England Co-op, we do trade out towards the East Coast. We go as far as South Yorkshire as well. And we've got about 7,500 colleagues, and we've got about 250,000 regular trading members with us, 250 food stores, 100 plus funeral homes. We also have filling stations, florists, masonry outlets. We own our own crematorium, and we have a coffin factory too.
Thank you. So you may be wondering why we're both on here together. So we didn't quite explain that one, but obviously from a retail perspective, you know, they are in competition as groups. But from a community perspective, which is where Karen and I both work, we're not in competition at all, and we work very closely together across the areas that we both cover. We've done lots of events together, and we have lots planned together, which is brilliant because we can make bigger difference in the communities in which we work, which is why we are on here together. So I'm going to just talk about our funding opportunities for the moment, and then I'll pass over to Karen and she can explain hers, because the setup for the community side of things in each of the cooperatives is slightly different. So hopefully these explanations will help. So we have something called the Local Community Fund. So obviously all these slides will be shared, so you don't need to worry about writing anything down or anything, but it's basically one of our assets that we can use to deliver our vision, which is cooperating for a fairer world. So we support projects across the whole of the UK, hopefully that our members care about. And every time our members buy Co-op branded products and services, the causes get a little bit of that money so that it can help them out, so they raise money throughout the year. So our membership essentially means that you pay for a membership, which is £1 for your card, which entitles you to that membership in the democratic process that Karen was talking about. And then every time you use your card, 2p in every £1 goes to you, and then we'll give the same support to the community organisation. So I've put some links in the presentation, so if anybody wants to go and have a look at that in more detail, they're welcome to later on. But I think we've been doing this for 7 years now, and we've given over £1 million to local causes. This year we've extended our funding slightly, so there's 4 key areas that we're actually focusing on for our funding. So bringing people together so they can access food fairly, helping people improve their mental health and well-being, and creating opportunities for young people to be heard and make a difference there. And this year, a new one for us is helping people to protect their local biodiversity and tackling climate change by hopefully reducing carbon emissions. So what does that really mean? So there's loads of community projects that we can fund and get involved in. Sorry. So for things for food related, we've got stuff like community fridges, we've got cooking lessons for kids, transport, holiday clubs, allotments, almost anything you can think of that relates to fair access to food. So there's just some examples, obviously. Then we've got the mental health and wellbeing, obviously incredibly important post COVID and pandemic and everything else. I don't need to tell you guys how important that is, but so it might be just emotional support, it might be social connections, it might be sporting activities. We've partnered with Crews, who they look at bereavement projects as well. We've partnered with a lot of people that are looking at youth mental wellbeing. So one of our national charity partnerships is with Mind, SAMH in Scotland, and Inspire in Ireland. So that kind of covers our mental health and wellbeing, but we also support local projects on the ground with the community fund as well. In terms of making a difference to young people, it can be anything from forum groups, youth projects, confidence building, life skills, CV skills, those kind of things. So anything related to that. The biodiversity side of things, again, it's very wide, the net that we cast. So we've got community gardens, we've got allotments, we've got rewilding projects, a cycling project, all sorts of things. So if you have a project that fits into one of these sections, then potentially you can apply for the local community fund. Obviously there are other criteria around that, which are all in the links. I haven't got time to go through them here, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody's got them later on. So that's fine. So for the local community fund applications, we are currently open for applications at the moment. So it's very good timing, this funding fair. So we have only got a very short window though, I'll be honest. The applications should have closed on the 29th of May, but we've left it open because we were getting so many applications through, which is fabulous, until the 12th of June. And then we go through a vetting process, as you would imagine, and then we go through to shortlisting and confirmation. So the causes join us in around October time. Okay, So in addition to the local causes, we have what we call member pioneers who are on the ground. So I usually work in Leicestershire, although I'm covering Northamptonshire at the moment, hence being on the call. I've got 9 member pioneers in Leicestershire, and there are 10 based in Northamptonshire. And their role is to build and develop connections between the co-op, the members, the local community, and they do the work on the ground. They have 4 hours a week to build those connections and make a difference in the community. And they're brilliant to be putting in touch with like-minded people, offering advice, connections with councils, other local groups, to just make stuff happen and get things moving. So again, I've put some links on there so you can find out more about the member pioneers, because I'm conscious we're kind of rattling through this relatively quickly for you. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions on that as well. So it's just some pickies of some of the things that our member pioneers get up to and some of the projects that they help support, which is part of the local cause piece that I've just spoken to you about. So that's one funding stream we have. The second funding stream we have is called our community donation policy. So it's a bit more of an ad hoc funding stream. It's created in 2018 and provides and enables stores basically to respond to requests on the ground for community organisations. So stores can request stock, or they can request checks, dependent on what the requirement is for the community group or the activity. It's at the store's discretion, and they can apply for something between £15 and £150. The application process takes about 4 weeks. So, but we would ask again that it fits under those 4 pillars that we've just discussed. So the access to food, access to mental health and wellbeing, access to education for children, and the biodiversity piece that we've just discussed as well. So they can't be made to support the ongoing maintenance of a group or anything like that, but it's a one-off donation that might help develop the group or start a new something or other. I don't know, we could be here for hours talking about options, but so the best way to go with that is to speak to your member pioneer first, and then they can help you liaise with the store manager, hence mentioning member pioneers earlier. And then a member pioneer will be able to talk you through that. If a community donation policy isn't appropriate for them, they may be able to help you by promoting the event. They might be able to provide refreshments or connect you to somebody else that may be able to support with that as well. So that's our 2 main funding streams. So I will pass on to Karen so she can explain hers now, if that's okay.
Thank you, Leah. So as Leah touched on with co-ops, that our profits go back into the communities where we trade, but we call it a dividend. You may remember your mum's divvy number. A lot of the time people come up to us and say, oh, I still remember my mum's divvy number. So we still do have a true dividend. So our dividend goes back to our colleagues. So if you're an employee within our society, you'll receive a dividend. It goes back to our members who shop with us. And it also goes via the community dividend fund, which I'm going to talk to you about today. Can you just click, Leah? Thanks. Sorry. So our community dividend, very similar to Leah's and the Co-op Group, has actually been relaunched in an effort to support good causes, groups and charities. And again, this is a result of the pandemic, because obviously what we found is that that there's more projects around access to food. So that's around improving access to food and encouraging healthy eating, supporting food banks or organisations within the community that are helping with hunger. Health and wellbeing, again, lots of people have struggled with their health and wellbeing since the pandemic. So any projects that are based around physical and mental health. And again, inclusion, especially around those harder to reach communities, around supporting people that have been isolated in their own homes. So that could be, for example, member groups. We support member groups in terms of, we will give them a small grant to pay the room rent, because often small groups haven't got enough money to pay for room rents and things, but we will look at that. And then again, very similar to Leah around environment, so inside and outside spaces, increasing sustainability, energy saving projects, sustainable travel, and again, food security. So groups can apply to us anything between £100 to £5,000. Now, again, there is some criteria. You have to be a full member of Central England Co-op. Quite often, if you are involved in a community project and you've got a co-op store near you, quite often you'll find somebody that's got a member's card. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the person completing that application, as long as there's somebody involved within your project that's a member of the co-op. All our projects have to align to the co-op values and principles. The fact that you're working in communities, the fact that you know, you're supporting communities where you are, you already are operating to some of these values and principles, which include self-help, self-responsibility, concern for the community. But what we would ask is that you demonstrate some of those co-op values and principles within your application. We won't part fund large scale projects, so that's things like if you wanted a community bus, for instance, and you're looking for other partners to help fund with that, we tend to look for the whole project that we can fund. The average grant, I've had a look at that, is approximately about £2,000, but we do pay out £5,000 as well. You need to be a not-for-profit organisation and supporting local good causes, community groups, charities, social enterprise and community interest companies. Thanks, Leah. Can you just go on to the next one? Sorry, that's a little bit small. So I've just placed some successful applications around the North Fants area. So in our last round of the Community Dividend Fund, Rothwell Community Library received a grant for blind so that they could show films in the library, because they had great big windows, so it was very difficult. So as it was a community-led library, that was successful. Northampton Hope Centre received a grant for helping people living in poverty. There is a Kids Aid Foundation in Northants, which is supporting children that have experienced trauma. Well, again, that comes under the mental health and wellbeing. The Vine Community Trust needed a dishwasher, so they were successful in that. Geddington Brickyard, which is a community garden, they had an eco toilet. And then accommodation concerning Kettering was supported with some office equipment, and I would imagine that was computers and things. And the Desborough Shed, which used to be the men's shed, but they actually take women in now. They've had some tools and equipment, because obviously that encourages more of the community to come and get involved. Next slide, Leah, thanks. So our closing date for our next round of applications is the 31st of July, and our Community Dividend Fund operates bi-monthly, so every other month. And all you need to do is go onto our website and you will see Community Fund in one of the bars across, and all I can say is the application is relatively simple. We just ask for 2 quotes in what it is that you need. So that's the Central England Co-op Community Fund. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've gotten to the end of the presentation part of it. So if anybody's got any questions, Carla, I'll open it up. Do you want to ask them? Shall I stop sharing the slides?
Yeah, thank you. It's easier to see people then. So questions for Leah and Karen. So we've got a few in the chat. Sean has asked, does Central England Co-op have member pioneers?
We operate slightly differently to Leah and the Co-op Group, because we have a membership and community council. So we meet 6 times a year, and we have a programme of events. We have a membership and community strategy, but these are just lay members in our community that want to come and get involved with us and support the communities where we trade. So they are pioneers as such, but we just operate slightly differently to how Leah operates.
Thank you. Question from Leslie, are the funds open to parish councils?
Oh, I'm not sure on that one. I think maybe it depends what the project is. I haven't seen any parish councils, but I'm quite happy to go back to my end and ask it if we would support parish councils, because it tends to be charities and community organisations really. So I'm not sure about parish councils because obviously they get their funding from their local council to support their projects, but I will go back and ask the question on that.
Yeah, I would give the same answer, to be fair, Karen.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any parish councils come through our funding either. As you said, they're usually community interest groups. They may be supported by the parish council in addition to the grants that they request. So from our side, we need a bank account in the name of the group that they're applying for as well. So I don't think that will work with parish councils at all. It needs to come directly from the group that's applying, even though they may get support from other areas. It doesn't have to just be the support that's coming from us. Obviously, you can apply to lots of different places. You can apply to both co-ops. There's no reason anybody can't do that either.
So thank you for that, and that sort of, I think, has answered your question. Simon said,
I've just seen it. Yeah.
Can you see? Yes, it's a good question. Can you apply or have awards from both of you at the same time?
Absolutely.
You can. That's good news.
That'd be quite nice, actually. We could actually all work together, which would be brilliant. So in a few weeks' time, we've got our cooperatives fortnight, so that would be very nice, actually. If somebody did apply and was awarded from both co-ops, that'd be brilliant.
Okay, so Becky, we've got a sensory area and would like to build a log cabin for the community. Would this apply to central fund?
Yes, it would, because it fits with environment, it fits with health and well-being. So I would actively encourage you to apply for that.
Yeah, same on my behalf. It fits into the environment, it fits with mental health and well-being. Probably, I'm guessing you're going to do some events or something like that in there, Becky, so it probably fits with the education side of things as well. So yeah, ticks lots of boxes there. I'll put my contact details in the chat as well, so if anybody wants to contact me directly, feel free to do that. I'm more than happy to discuss anything with anyone.
Lovely, thank you. So let's go back up a bit. How close, Simon's asked, how close to a branch or shop do we need to be?
Shall I go first, Karen?
Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah, okay. So when you put the applications through our website, the postcode that you put in for your project, that gets automatically allocated to the closest shop or branch or funeral care, etc. So it's just an algorithm that's matched to it, to be honest with you. So if your head office is in Scotland, don't put that down as your postcode. Put the postcode of the project that you're actually dealing with, and then you will get allocated to the closest store from there. Does that help?
Thank you. Is that okay? Yes. Thumbs up from Simon. Next question. Could you remind people of the closing dates? And you said it would normally have closed already. So
yeah, I think that's from my side. So we've left it open a little bit until the 12th. So it is really tight. To be honest, I didn't think I would be telling you it was still open, to be truthful, on this call. But it is still open until the 12th. So if you want to apply, just go to the website, same as Karen, you'll see the community fund on there. If anybody needs any help, support, shout. We're more than happy to do that.
And Leah, if people don't manage to get it in the next couple of days, when's your next funding?
Yeah, I realised after Karen had said that I didn't make mine very clear. Ours is only an annual one, so the next time will be next May, basically, and we open the funding for usually for 4 to 6 weeks, and then it'll be applying again, which is why I told you about the community donation policy, because that's more of an ad hoc thing that we can support throughout the year, but obviously the value is far less. So invariably, I think our payouts are between £1,000 and £2,000 for the whole year. So hopefully that'll help people think about what they might be able to apply for projects that are applicable, put it that way.
Lovely, thank you. Jenny's asked, can stores support multiple charities?
I'm not quite sure what that question means, sorry.
Jenny, do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, so my local co-op store, I know it already supports food donations to elsewhere, but we also have a community fridge and a community cafe. So is it possible for them to support us as well as another charity, or have we missed out there because they've already got it, if you see what I mean?
No, we have a food share policy, certainly from our perspective, and they can have as many food share partners as they can physically support. So it's just a case of nipping into the store, and if they can support another food share partner, it's just putting an application through. I can send you the link if you want to, or if you email me, I can send you all the details of our food share partners. Who you need to access is just put an application through. It usually takes a couple of weeks, and then as long as it's all approved, then you just work with the direct. So yeah, pop me a note.
Thank you.
No worries.
Lovely. So Taz has asked, how do you become a member?
Oh, that's the best question ever. Brilliant. we love questions like that, don't we, Leah?
Yeah, go for it.
Because we just, because the more members we have, the more people that shop with us, the more we can support our local communities. So you can just go on to either, well, sorry, I'll talk about Central England. You can go onto the website and become a member, or you can go into a store and pick a card up, and you can register that way. The easiest way to register is online.
Yeah, so same for us. We've got an app. You can do it straight on the app. That's the easiest way of doing it. Download the Co-op app, or you can go in store and you can pick up a temporary card and do it that way, and then register it when you get home, whatever you're comfortable with.
Lovely. Right. Phil is asking, is Central England an annual scheme?
No, so the community fund at Central England is bi-monthly. So if you go onto the website now, you'll see the countdown to the 31st of July, I think it is. Yeah, 31st of July, I think I said. Yeah.
Lovely. More questions from anybody?
Gone quiet. They were good questions, though. Really
They
good
were very good, weren't they? So Becky's asked, can I check what amount local community fund is, please?
Okay, so that's obviously from our perspective. So I can't give you an exact figure because it depends how many members are shopping with the co-op. It depends how many members choose you as a local cause. So in each of the stores, they have 3 local causes that are selected in September, October time. And as a member, you choose which cause you want your extra little 2p to go to, basically. So you can select that on the app, you can do it online, etc. So it literally depends how many people you get as members and how many people choose you as a cause. So if you are chosen as a cause through the community fund in general, then the member pioneers and the likes of myself as a member pioneer coordinator will help you promote your cause to ensure that you get as much money as you possibly can. So that's part of the role of the member pioneers as well. So I hope that answers the question. If you need more detail, Becky, then please message me.
And
thank you.
Sorry, and at Central England Co-op, we have a community dividend committee, which is made up of board directors, colleagues from across the business that will go through each application that comes in and allocate the funds depending on that application.
Lovely. Presumably, when you're registered with the local store, you can then promote that to your local community, can't you?
Absolutely. We'd love you to, please.
You go in and vote for you each time they go shopping. Simon's asked, do you recognise the need for or the importance of management fees and full cost recovery?
From our perspective, we do, but it's not covered under our community fund. I'm afraid we don't support that under the community donations. Sorry.
Yeah, same here. It's very difficult that we don't pay for wages and we don't pay for training. But I totally understand, you know, that training is a crucial part of the roles that you do. But same as Leah, it's around capital expenditure.
So I suppose don't include them in the application then.
No.
I'm afraid not. We declined our side for definite. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, Taz, can we contact the 10 pioneers in Northampton?
That's one for
Yes,
you, Leah.
you definitely can, Taz. They would love to hear from you, and they're more than happy to talk to anybody and connect people through. So please drop me a note, send me your contact details. I'll reply with the member pioneers details. They're all on Twitter as well, so anybody can contact them on there. I'm not going to drop all the details in the chat, but I'm more than happy to share any of that information. It is publicly available, and yeah, they're available to chat on. So yes, please.
Okay. Crystal, if we have a if we have a member, does that cover both Central and Central England? And that's the membership question, isn't it? And you have to apply for both.
Yeah,
They're separate cards. Yeah.
So they're separate. Crystal, is that answered your question? Thank you. So Maria, so Karen, you represent Central England, and Leah, you represent which co-op? It's
Co-op
so
group.
difficult for people, isn't it?
It is, and that's why we thought it might make sense for us both to come on the call together, because it is difficult to separate them. So we thought we could answer a few of these questions. So I'm the co-op group, blue co-ops, Maria, if that's any help.
Is that all right, Maria? Co-op group
and Central
England
co-op. Yeah.
Okay. So Stacey's asked, will this recording be sent out? I couldn't get on for the first 15 minutes, and I'm interested in the first part of the presentation. So that's my bit that I'm going to talk about at the end, where you can have access to that. So the short answer is, it won't be sent out, but you can access it, Stacey. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Oh, those were really good questions. Everybody.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Leah and Karen, for the talk. That was very interesting, and I think we've all got a lot from that. Thank you everybody for joining the session today. So it is being recorded, and it's going to be uploaded to the Northants Council's website so that you have access to it. You can listen to it all again, and the slides will be uploaded as well. So, and if you could remember when you're on NNC website to fill out our questionnaire and enter your email so that you're entered into the prize draw, that would be great, because it really helps us in planning funding fairs for future years. So thank you all very much indeed, and have a good day.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you, Corella.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.